friends, welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love so much and we break them and we beat them up to find out what gives them their inner magic that we've groomed into the... I'm your host, Josh Grivy, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and guy who always gets hard watching A Clockwork Orange.
Do you enjoy humiliating me? Sorry, I'm Alex Dandino.
That's not how I want to start my morning. Yuck. I feel Julia even more in this moment. All right, before today's just steamy tale of a Moor, we have a little business. Everyone,
not the verb I would use.
Yeah, please go to patreon.com and support the show. Help us grow the show. Help us make this the best goddamn podcast on the internet. We appreciate it. We have a huge amount of offerings over there, if you'd be so kind. We love to hear from our patrons how we can add things that would make it more fun for them. We really try to put in the work to make that a value for you guys. So if you'd be so kind, go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. It means the world to us to have the support over there. Thank you guys. We're always trying to grow and keep doing better. You're an integral part of that. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the Film Alchemist channel. You can watch videos over there. We're on all the social media you're on, including TikTok now. Mm-hmm. If for some reason you'd like to see more clips of us and send those around, that'd be great. Make sure you email the show, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews. And your last actionable item, go to misfitparade.net. Misfit Parade is also on all the socials, YouTube, all that good stuff. Make sure you're checking out the short horror films we're working on over there in the build-up to some new stuff. I just realized if you're on YouTube, my lip looks super blue like I'm a freezing corpse. It's because I was eating birthday cake. So if you're on YouTube, don't think I'm actually dying. I've just been crushing cake to get me jazzed for this.
You're also in the middle of the Arctic blast, which I would say that would also make sense.
We're in the middle of the Arctic blast, so I'm actually okay, but I am just fucking full of cake. That's what's happening right now. So don't worry about me on YouTube. You guys probably have your concern levels high if you watch today's movie with us. Today's Tale of a Moor.
You're on alert if you watch
this month of a Moor, we're doing all-consuming love. The kind of love that often turns into something worse than love.
Isn't great.
It's not great. This movie, spiritual cousin, maybe this is, if you have the cousin who, like, has this tale, but it's like, yeah, you know, we all got that cousin who lives out in the boonies, right? Things aren't going, like, that's Fear. This is the highfalutin cousin of Fear, right? This is Sleeping with the Enemy. Julia Roberts' tale of a woman put down by her husband. This is almost Invisible Man. This is almost exactly the script for the Invisible Man remake that just came out. A woman kept by a rich fucking evil prick.
Yeah.
Tries to escape, tries to rewrite her tale, and of course the evil man won't stop. For better or worse, this one doesn't have the invisibility suit for the invisible prick. This movie, again, this just reminds me of the kind of movies my mom loved. And so I would just watch these kind of movies with my mother, and she would get so just encapsulated in what was happening. The drama of these kind of marital stories with these really high stakes, right? Maybe it's because my mom went through some of this bad partner stuff that, you know, these movies really spoke to her, right? And really offered some kind of catharsis. Mm-hmm. So I miss this genre a lot, right? I think, again, we talked about they've kind of migrated to, like, Hallmark and the CW, but I think of my mom just watching these movies, just eating popcorn, slamming Diet Cokes, and being glued to the screen. And I do love this genre. So, Alex, opening thoughts on Sleeping with the Enemy. How long had it been since you fucking watched Sleeping with the Enemy?
Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but this is a movie I actually, like, when I see it streaming, I will watch, because it is... I have a bizarre relationship with this movie. It's weird, and the movie makes no sense to me at all. But also I claim that it is like one of the great comedies of the 20th century. But this is why, okay? It contextually, the first time I watched this movie, it was presented to me in a weird context to the point where I'm like, okay, this will never not be funny forever. I was an RA at San Diego State, and when you're an RA, and people who I don't know if who's listened to us an RA. By the way, Brett Woods, get cranking. I know you're in the shower right now, so get ready.
He's the guy who jerks off to us in the shower.
Yeah, this is going to be a steamy one. This is
a steamy episode to be cranking your knob to, sir. Finish fast.
Okay, sorry. So when you're an RA, they make you do like 2 or 3 weeks of actual training before the students show up, so you are prepared for whatever scenario you have to be like a snitch for. So whether that's when kids are smoking weed or whatever. So one of them, of course, is domestic violence, or when you're dealing with people who are being beaten or anything
in the fucking dorms.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
This movie was shown to us as part of the training.
What? They made you watch an entire film?
They made us watch up to when she escapes, to explain to us how like certain red flags might be seen. And I'm like, this is not a training video, but I am laughing so hard.
So just every time you heard the Clockwork Orange song, you're like running with your little whistle around
that was
the
other
door.
thing too. Was like so I had never seen the movie. So
Danger!
They started playing. So he like turns on. I'm like, and I turned to someone one of the random RAs, and I was like, "Is that the soundtrack to The Shining?" And they go, "Shh, quiet. We're watching the movie."
Is it The Shining? Yeah.
I'm like, are we watching The Shining though? This is weird. Like, what's going on? And then he like full blown like slaps her in the face. I was like, wait a second. Or he like comes over and just ravishes her. I was like, wait. Can he not get hard unless he listens to the soundtrack to the show? What is happening in this movie, and why is this? Okay, got it. So this is a red flag. Thank you for that information. But how would I ever know? So the context with which the movie was presented.
If you were ranking songs that you heard and thought a domestic violence was happening, it'd be like The Shining, Beer for My Horses. I don't know. I was going to say maybe Friends in Low Places, but I think that's actually like a universally accepted good time song, so that's not it. Maybe just like, this and Beer for My Horses or Kid Rock.
I would say Mozart's Requiem is another one. I'd be like, something bad's probably
you think
happening.
A lot of so we're kind of, again, we're building the two Americas. If you're on the coast, right, if you hear Requiem or The Shining, there's a woman in danger. Or if you hear Beer for My Horses or Baw with the Baw, get your RA whistle out because someone could be in danger.
Any Kid Rock, you should probably be on alert. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just saying nowadays, if I was to hear Kid Rock in a college dorm, I would assume a woman was in danger and needed help. That's just what I'm going to assume.
That was the context this movie was presented to me, and was like, these are red flags. I'm like, yeah, obviously. There's nothing about this that doesn't scream red flag.
I'm gonna tell a story. I don't know that I should tell this story. But I once had a wild experience to a movie song, and it was one of the, I had not thought of this in years until you just talked about this, but I knew this girl.
By the way, if you're not watching YouTube, he literally is looking out the door to see.
Well, I hear my kids waking up and shit. I was like, I don't want him to know Daddy was a freak. You know what I mean? Let him find that out later after a therapy, when they can pay for their own therapy. But I knew this girl was like really into like slapping and biting. And I was like, it should have been a red flag, because this is a girl I had met. It started off pretty normal until all of a sudden it's like you start fucking clicking the little, like she had this remote for like a CD, and it was the Requiem for a Dream song. And I don't know.
Lux Eterna?
Yeah, because I was kind of like, yeah. And I was like, sick, dude. I was like, I like that movie. And then once it started, I was like, oh, God, I should have known. I was like, I've seen that movie. I should have known. I was like, oh, no. By the end of it, I was like Jared Leto with no limbs, just fucking this gaunt, dead body. I was like, I should have known. So I'm going to add that to the list. We need to make a definitive ranking of songs that you hear during a moment of wrestling. Danger is afoot. But anyway, sleeping with the enemy.
Yeah.
Sleeping with the frenemy. No, it's not even a frenemy. It's a straight up enemy.
Yeah. No, I mean,
weird title for a movie, by the way. Like, weird title for a film. But essentially, I'll say this, because this movie, I had no recollection of this movie. I remembered at best the basic premise, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I will say if there's one thing the movie does for effect is it starts off where they play it at the start like Julia Roberts really is madly in love with this man, right?
Yeah, they do some.
So they're doing that. They get the dress on. They go out. She's at the party just eyeballing him, and you're like, she's out like shucking oysters and stuff. Gets sand on him. He's like, I can change. And you're like, why is Julia Roberts with this like fucking mustache weirdo? Like this just visually doesn't work for me.
Patrick
right?
Bergen, just like you're just looking at the two of them, like, how did he pull this? What is
he
going
looks
on?
exactly what was the actor's name? He looks like the actor from Wishmaster, but like just a hair stretched out, right? Like a little more cleaned up. Andrew, Andrew, whatever. But anyway, he looks like the Wishmaster, and I was like, this is visually not right to me. Like, this is not cool. He must be the enemy. You know it right away, but they're playing it very loving. And she does the, have I been social enough? They go home. They hit the Shining music. They start banging it out, dropping food on the
floor. It's like,
again, one of my biggest bugaboos in a movie, rich people just throwing food on the floor when they're starting their amour.
Those are delicious-looking strawberries, too.
So lame. So lame.
Come on.
You fucking losers. You fucking loser. You're just like, don't worry, the help will clean it up, you fucking loser.
You're not going to dip those in chocolat. And
little did I know the help was his wife, because he just, we see like a day, you're like, wow, like rich people do live better than us, right? Like they just live better than us. The next day we see a hand towel uneven. You're like, all right, he seems a little upset by that. Maybe there's a backstory. Okay. Then he just chats with the doctor. And one's in, and he fucking cracks Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And it is jarring. Because you're like, this is not the movie I'm watching. Like, it changes.
It's on a dime, dude.
So hard and so fast. Because it's kind of like a guy's like, did we forget about the towels? Did we? It's okay. We all forget. That's why we have reminders. And you're like, okay, that's not great, right? But like, me and my wife have that, right? Like, there's just, they even talked about this in Indecent Proposal, right? There are just things that you do as like a married couple where it's like my wife's, like one of her biggest bugaboos is I'm just like, if I get my laundry close to the laundry basket, it's there. And I know that when laundry starts, I pick it up, put it in the basket and transport it. Yep. But she's always like, why are your fucking jeans piled up by the laundry basket? I'm like, well, because they're not dirty. I might want to wear them again. They're not all the way official laundry.
Those are jeans.
Right. This is like a marital argument, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, maybe the towels, that's just a thing. He's like, OCD. He's like, please don't trigger me. Once the doctor's just like, hey, I've seen your wife through a window. And he's like, you look at him, you whore. Psh! And he starts smacking. You're like, oh my God. Like, this movie's out of its fucking mind.
Yeah.
It's such an abrupt turn.
It starts with that. So when he like brings her into the bathroom, he like takes her by the hand and walks her in quietly. I was like, is he gonna bang her in the bathroom? What's going on? And it's like, oh,
well, because she even says she's like, a little early for that, ain't it?
Yeah, the towels are out of sync. You're like, okay, whatever. It's so fast. I remember actually because Andrea, when we first started dating, when we moved to LA, I used the hand towels. We have like display towels, like towels you're not supposed to touch, like that are just like that were like I didn't understand it.
The display industry, right? Display towels, display pillows, display furniture. That's like, look, you're never supposed to use that shit.
So I like took I went to the bathroom and washed my hands and then like dried them on the towels. And Andrea was like, "Did you use those towels?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, they're towels." And she's like, "Those aren't for using." I'm like, why are they in there? It's the bathroom. Who else is going in the bathroom? Yeah. Besides us.
They're like, Alex, it's for when our friends are spraying fecal matter all over our toilet. They can realize how put together we are.
Like, if someone's in there taking a shit, they're not focusing on the towels. I did not understand it. Like,
is there spray shitting all over our toilet? They need to know that we believe in monograms.
It's one of those weird things when you get married. You're like, all right, I guess there are other rules in other houses that I don't understand. But like, that's one of those things where I'm like, oh, she was probably always really chill about it. And he was like, and then, he goes out, talks to the guy. And Patrick Bergen is Irish. And I didn't know that because he has such a weird accent in the movie. Like, it's this really deliberate American accent. So he's talking with the guys like, hey,
it gives him like a serial killer cadence because it feels like every word is so meticulously planned out.
Sounds a lot like Jeffy Dahmer, being honest. It's a lot of Jeff Dahmer.
I mean, do we forget our reminders? Did we forget our reminders?
Forget our reminders?
Tuesday night, banging the
night.
floor. Thursday night, Jedi. Did we forget our reminders?
Did we forget? What are we thinking here?
Do you think I like that? Do you?
Do you like to humiliate me? Okay. It's
He's
such
just pointing
a weird,
giant knife at the monogram tiles like
it's such a weird like flip. You're like, whoa, this went hard in the other direction, like so fast. And then you're like, then it's so at first, for what is that? Like the first like 15 minutes of the movie, like
dude,
up
it
to that
feels
point.
like you get 5 minutes of movie and then he's fucking throwing backhands.
Yeah,
like it's such a we're diving right into it.
Not
And I
only
guess
throwing
that
the
opening
backhands, like,
scene is
hardcore
played.
draws blood.
Oh,
like
I mean, it's
crazy.
a fucking, and of course we know he's super tough because we saw him on the weirdest 80s aerobic machine, that little, yeah. He looks like he's an extra in the background of Cats, just going really fast. Yeah,
he's also in like late 80s, early 90s shape where it's like you could be just like thin and that would be considered, you're good. Like it wasn't like we're not in Arnold shape because we're not doing an action movie. So he's just in regular 90s shape.
Yeah, he's in like rich guy, like I do cardio, so I'm thin and look good in suit shape. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. But again, I think that opening is kind of this myth building of like that's the character she thinks she's playing for him. That's the night they're supposed to have and how hard it is to live up to that all the time.
Yeah.
He starts smacking her around. I have to say, the wildest thing right off the bat you have to just kind of agree with is he's like, oh no, you're going to ruin supper by pouting. Right? He's like, I'm going into town. The decision that he's like, I feel like you're pouting about me slapping the shit out of you because you don't want to go sailing, right?
You don't want to go sailing?
Yeah.
Watch Jedi later?
You know that I want to go sailing, but also I'm mad because you're clearly eye fucking the dock over there. So I want to be on the dock and so do you, and that's a problem, and I don't like it. Right? And it's his fucking like gentle tone where he's like, she's like, oh, you remind me. He's like, I almost thought you think I like that. And she goes, no, that'd make you a monster. The fact that he is getting to smack the shit out of her because she wants to fuck the doctor, but then he's also like, we're also doing this like midnight catamaran. Like, we're going to go fucking crush waves, obviously. That is such a fucking leap.
I like that conversation, though, because it starts with her wanting to volunteer at the library full time. He's like, well, you already committed 3 days. I think that's very admirable.
He just drops his thing. He's like,
of that.
It's almost like that fucking scene of Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Are you not? With all your housework and your 3 days of fucking books.
Who will do the housework? Who will
You spend 22 minutes a day watching me fucking panther my way around the exercise machine? What the... Unbelievable.
The best line read, though, in that conversation is, she's like, has your dinner been late once? He's like, oh, I can remember some time back.
He's like, he does the, like, he puts on his little reading specs and gets out his detective notebook. Actually, bitch. Oh, you want to play that game? You didn't know Daddy kept receipts? I'm an accountant, motherfucker.
You didn't know, did you? Well,
April 3rd. Yeah. Tater tots, not served with the first course.
You did not use the air fryer when you came home, and that was very disturbing to me. Like, it's just this weird... It's like this strange flex. I'm like, are you really taking notes?
It is building this kind of, like, meticulously crafted prison that she's been forced into, right? I think the hardest thing to accept about the movie, besides, like, the fucking ridiculous escape plan, right? Like, this is a fucking... We'll get to that. The movie does not do a very good job of telling us what the run-up to this marriage was. Because it feels to me like she met him, was swept off her feet, like small-town girl, right? Moves to the city.
Yeah.
Swept off her feet by the wealth, the being taken care of. He's a good guy. We never hear anything about her father, right? Like, we don't know if he was in the picture and passed away or he wasn't. Maybe he fills this kind of void, right? We don't get a sense. Were they dating for 2 months and then
There's
got
just-
hitched quick?
there's just
Were they
no
dating
explanation of
for
courtship at all.
5 years? Because it does feel like one of those. I know he's kind of this psychopath character, but the fact that in all that time you can't see any fucking red flags, so it feels like it must have been a really quick run up to a kind of snap marriage. That seemingly like her family's not part of this and that, and then once that happened, now he's got her. There's also this other thing the movie doesn't do a great job of. They just kind of gloss over and just say, she's tried to call cops, and cops just always go,
I don't know.
and I was like, I don't know the law per se. I know that if someone called on me and said, hey, he's beating the fuck out of me, right? Like if I was at a bar and some guy called the cops and said, that guy beat the shit out of me, and they were covered in bruises, I'm probably at least getting arrested.
Yeah.
So the movie just kind of glosses over because he's married, that gives him blanket immunity, or at least she's not believed enough. I don't know if maybe this is how it was.
To me, it's one of those. It is this. Like, I can't speak to the legality of anything at this point, especially out on the Chesapeake where the riches live.
No, the riches have a different system than we do.
Their
for sure.
bizarre glass castle. But regarding that, though, like, it is a weird thing that she's just. It's sort of like when we talked about Fear. It's like the older version of it's like this older version of Mark Wahlberg's character, where essentially,
if David had pulled his plan off, this is sleeping with the enemy.
Like he's so, because we don't know what the courtship was. I assume that and I mean, like, we get a little bit of taste of it later, where it's like you assume that he was like really sweet at some point, and then all of a sudden there's just a turn. Like, it is this really methodical thing, but to not have any of that information up front, I think is really a hard pill to swallow to get us through the rest of the movie. Because
he's such a fucking brutal monster by the end.
Well, up until the end of, because up until the like, it's a very brief explanation she gives the neighbor later in the movie, but up until that point, the explanation we have is just like, got it, he's a bastard, and you had to concoct the most elaborate escape plan ever conceived, other than just driving a car. This is 1991. There's like no cell phones. Like, I'm just get in a car and drive. Who cares? It's so weird.
Yeah, we'll get to the fucking escape, dude. Because
but that's I think the thing is, like, because there's no explanation as to what their relationship was before he started throwing hands. We have
there is
the context we have is that one experience. We're like, dude, this guy's just a fucking dick.
I think it's just something they could have kind of hung a lantern on earlier and better.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is the thing. He is a charming, successful, rich, mustache. Like, he just looks like a wiener. Like, if you just see him in real life, you'd be like, that guy's a wiener.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
But you would assume he's much more a Ned Flanders, right?
Very much
than whatever. You're like, look at that fucking wiener.
Yeah.
And so if she's doing that, he has the protection of being a successful man. He has the protection of being a rich man. Mm-hmm. Again, like you said, it's the 90s, so we just didn't have cell phones all the time. We didn't have all these fucking ways to protect ourselves with media.
Right.
Okay, I can see some of that. And again, what they do a really good job of, though, is Julia Roberts plays this character beautifully, which is we see Julia Roberts trying to play the role, right? And I know this, that sometimes women who are in abusive relationships, right, especially with kids, you start getting into this, I have to get through today. You start shrinking your world to day by day, morning by morning, whatever. What do I have to do right now to keep the monster at bay? That these abusive relationships essentially become Cujo. What action do I have to take right now to keep Cujo out of this car and away from me and the kid?
Right.
And whatever that is, that's the routine you fall into. And I think it's kind of one of the insidious things that abusers prey upon, right? Is this, you just fucking get them in this habit where you break people, right? And that word gets thrown around a lot, grooming, right? Whatever fucking political bullshit that entails. Sure. This is truly what grooming is, right? Is that you are training this woman to, if the towels are uneven, if you look at another human, if you try to leave the house to go see your mother who's fucking on death's doorstep. Right? That is what it is. And so I think Julia Roberts plays that kind of bird in the barbed wire cage beautifully in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me speaks to the really kind of true terror of this scenario more than some of kind of the other machinations. I think that part works really well.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that right before they go to that party where she's got on that white dress and he's like, that's an interesting dress. I think it's very pretty. And she's like, did you think the red? He goes, black, actually. And she's like, well, it's going to be cold. And he just looks at her and goes, like Jim.
All right, puss.
like Jim in the office. Just, you sure?
And then he puts on his cargo shorts. He's like, I'm tough. I didn't know you were tough.
I'm tough. I didn't know you were a huge pussy, but all right. Yeah. Like,
chili, huh? Yeah. He's like me in college.
Yeah, I'm not cold. It's fine.
Yeah, my legs don't get cold, bro. It's fine.
I don't get cold. Your legs are purple.
Yeah, the shorts in winter is the kingdom of fat whites like me. Like I've been the ruler of that land for a long time.
There was a dad in our like when I played basketball in high school. One of the kids who played, all he ever wore were like Dockers.
Yeah.
Dockers khaki shorts and loafers with no socks.
Ugh.
Dead of winter.
I'll tell you this though.
5 feet of snow.
I'm coming back to the jeans community because it's a game changer for us chubby white guys.
Yep.
Now they have stretchy jeans. They're like maternity pants for us.
I love a good stretch.
Now I'm fucking back, jean. Baby.
I've told everyone like the fashion that I'm looking at now is like Rob in high fidelity, like sweaters and jeans that taper at my ankle. That's my fashion.
Hell yeah! That ladies, please please respect our privacy, ladies. Don't all come running at once.
Yes, we're really putting on a clinic here. But anyways. Yeah, like
we're doing the opposite of this movie, which is we are doing all the red flags out front so women can run in advance. The scene, but like there is that scene, right? That's like picking the dress. I'll say that scene that was like extra brutal to me in this first part was when he gives her the red dress and like makes her like dresses her in it.
It's weird.
Just so he can like, and we see him do like his weird, like he even fucks like he's on that workout bike. And it's like, we just watch her face like staring at the ceiling.
Dude,
I know the movie's called Sleeping with the Enemy. I don't know that I like needed to
watch them fuck. No,
watch her eyes go dead like that.
Yeah, wow. Like that was the thing. Like she's like, oh god, and then he like looks at it and goes, "It's great, thanks, yeah, awesome." Yeah. I'm like,
well, he seems like one of those guys to me that's like banging, and then as soon as he rolls over, like he finishes and of course rolls over, checks his Fitbit to see what his heart rate was. And he's like, oh, a new PR. And she's like, not me. I haven't had a PR in a long time.
Yeah, right? He's like, oh, finally.
Yeah.
37-second pump.
Well, yeah, I think they do a good job of putting her in the cage. I don't know if I needed that. All right. The movie hinges on her boat escape. The thing they don't ever ask or answer is because there's a moment where you think the doctor's in on it, and then you're like, probably not.
Yeah.
There's a moment, we see her throwing the rocks at the lights in advance, right? That's how she's going to know where to go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take this out. The plan is fucking ludicrous. Like, the plan is just a ludicrous fucking plan. And she kind of talks about how, because they do that, and she's like, and that's the night I died and another woman was freed, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't volunteering at the library. She was taking swimming lessons at the YWCA.
Right.
Whatever. Let's just take a side. She finds herself on a boat. She jumps off. She's a strong enough swimmer to swim through the ocean in a storm, which is not the same as having little old Gladys.
I was going to say, so she takes the YMCA class that my grandmother took to learn how to swim, and then she swims through the perfect storm, beating Mocky Mock and George Clooney.
Yeah.
Come on.
There is swimming, good at swimming, and then there's like, I can swim in the fucking ocean.
I can swim in the ocean during the perfect storm.
During a storm. It's... Take all that out. That's wild. Take out the fact that she goes back in her house and probably leaves watery footprints everywhere.
Absolutely.
Take out the fact that she goes back in the house And she's like, I better take time to cut my hair. I was
Cut
like,
my hair.
bitch,
and
do that in the
flush
car.
My fucking wedding ring down the toilet. It's like, come on.
Okay, the wedding ring, when he goes back and he realizes she's probably alive and the ring is still in the toilet, I was like, has he not had a movement?
Taken a shit or peed?
Yeah, has he not fucking, like,
I thought that too.
are his poops so small they can't move a ring? It's just been there for like over a month.
Well, he hasn't been eating. He hasn't been eating. He's not like he's cooking dinner.
The audacity of this plan is so fucking Hollywood stupid. It's that kind of Hollywood like chef's kiss where you're like, it plays fun on the screen. It seems dramatic. If you break it down, you're like, wow, this is so fucking stupid.
Yes.
Here's the other point. You gotta let mom go, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta let mom go.
She's the canary in the coal mine, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's
Mom already lost you once, right? You like, because this is the thing. Wherever she goes, you're like, why? I'm with you. Get in your car, drive to anywhere, drive to another country, drive to literally anywhere. The only chance he has of finding you is mom.
Yeah.
That's literally it. That's literal only fucking chance he has is to find you. Is apparently mom and some loudmouth sack of shit who you did swimming lessons with. That scene made me so mad I wanted to throw the remote.
that yakety yak, I tell you.
Yeah,
Oh,
why
no, I'm
was
sure.
that old piece of shit?
Why are you calling and giving your condolences? Who cares? Shut
Yeah.
up.
And then being like, well, she had bruises. She had gymnastics. Meh. It's like,
Wasn't she a
lady,
gymnast?
shut
Why she had
the
bruises?
fuck-
Like, lady,
Also,
shut
I'm like,
your
when you're
fucking
saying she
mouth.
was covered in huge bruises and he said she didn't do gymnastics, does no fucking
like,
bell go off in your mind?
Did
Like,
you also? I have to go by. Hello, police.
Yeah. Oh, bye. I'm glad
police.
she's dead and buried. I actually never met her. Bye.
Okay, bye. Click.
Is this lady I knew from Waffle House? Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Gladys. Shut the fuck up.
These fucking Gladys Kravitzes just ruined the whole
Here's
thing.
the thing. This is the big question the movie can't answer, right? And I'd like,
Yeah.
all she has to do is wait out this hypersexually fixated, hypersexually focused on his one fetish guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait him out. How long do you think it would take this guy to find and start grooming a new wife to fucking hit about his perfect little manicured house?
What do you suggest?
What I'm saying is she has been married to him for we don't know how long again.
Okay.
You think this guy's going to go a whole entire year without starting this grooming process on another woman?
Oh no! This is the
Like
whole
this.
point of the,
This is what this guy's not going to let this. It's that quote. I only know this quote from Norm Macdonald. Right? Nature abhors a vacuum. Right? Whether Darwin said it or not. There's a big hole in the middle of his life. He's not going to let that go unfilled.
You're talking about post her. I thought you were mentioning like her
when
cheating.
she's gone.
Yeah. When
All
she's
you have
gone-
to do is have the fortitude to wait 2 years to go see your mother.
Well, I think that's the weird thing too. Is so she's gone, and he's like this inconsolable wreck, which is probably why he's not pooping because he's definitely not eating because he's not cooking for himself. But he's like shouting Laura like he's Brando in Streetcar.
Yeah.
Like,
He's Anakin in Revenge of the Sith.
yeah, it's a weird thing because
Well, he's not mourning her. He's mourning the loss of
mourning that
training hours.
Yeah, he doesn't have dinner. He doesn't have training hours anymore. He can't do the 30-second pumps. He doesn't even listen to the Shining soundtrack with joy anymore. He's just quietly cranking it to himself like our friend Brett in the shower.
He just tries to jerk off to the Barry Lyndon soundtrack. He's like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
He tried doing Driving Miss Daisy. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh," just jams his thumb up his ass. He's like, nothing works.
That's the thing. You got to wonder what soundtrack what soundtrack's going to get you hard when your wife's drowned. When your
We should
soundtrack
also
is
have
The
a
Shining.
list. We have our definitive list that may mean a woman's in danger. What's our definitive list of some guy should probably take a break from jerking off? Like you've gone too far and you're too sad. Yeah.
The Shining
Driving Miss
soundtrack.
Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy. Driving Miss Daisy.
You're jerking off to Driving Miss Daisy. you might be in trouble. You might need to call for help. Serious professional help.
If you're watching The Holiday and you're listing off all of those soundtracks, you're like, I can't jerk off to any of them. I'm like, you've got a problem. You are in trouble.
I tried to bust right when the old guy walked up the stairs. I couldn't hold it. No. My wife's going to be mad at me for that one. Here's what I'm saying. I know it sucks. You've lost your mom for a while. You realize that you don't have a lot of time with her. That was the impetus for you making this jailbreak.
Right.
You have two options. Two, and that's it. You go straight from your escape. Because that's the thing. He thinks that the mom is dead.
Yeah.
So here are the two things I could not figure out in this movie. Because one, it's the 90s. You can just literally drive anywhere and park. Get a job where you can fucking have a normal life, and he will never fucking find you. There's literally no chance he'll find you. There are two things that I can't figure out. You have only two options, right? You go straight from this bus ride, right? Mm-hmm. You go straight to, you have enough money to buy a fucking nice-ass house.
$700 a month for a
go buy
four-bedroom
a
house.
piece of shit hoopty, right? So before you start decking it out to look like a fucking HGTV ad, get in your car, go pick mom's ass up, and say, hey, you're coming to live with me. Because she said that earlier. She's like, the only thing I was mad about is that I didn't have her come live with us. This thing, you have to pick her up day one of the escape so that when he eventually finds out, because Gladys won't shut her fucking yap.
There's the first Gladys. This is the bigger problem. Because the movie ends with this. The first Gladys, let's say the first Gladys can't keep her fucking yapper shut, so she spills the beans that she can swim. He drives to the next nursing home that she was at, where she supposedly died. Why are you not stopping at the old one first?
There's a lady, there is a nurse there who's just like, man, if I get to suck that dick, I'll rat out any woman. That's fine. Okay. Again, what I'm saying is, if you're on day one of your escape, you have this meticulous plan. The first thing you have to do is eliminate his ability to fucking talk to your blind mother.
Anywhere.
So you call mom on the phone and say, hey, if anyone shows up trying to do a Terminator 2 on you and pretending to be a cop, don't tell them any information. Don't do that. You call the hospital where your mom is and say, I'm a battered woman. If my husband shows up asking for me, don't fucking tell him any information. Call the cops. Call both the nursing homes. So either you have to put everyone on alert, or you have to fucking get mom and just take her. If she just takes mom out of the home, then it's all good.
So she did that. Good. The first nursing home that she was stashed at, that's where that's where she told Patrick Bergen that she died.
Right. She moved her hoping that he wouldn't find her.
Right. So
that doesn't make sense.
And the administrator's like, oh, she didn't die here. They just moved her to another one. I'm like, the first thing you do is call that lady and be like, hey, I'm a battered woman and I need you, or I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. My husband's going to be looking for me. Tell him nothing. Please.
Well, let's also pause right here for one of the fucking wildest things we've ever had to accept in a movie. Is that this fucking walking mustache comes in, and he's like, I really am just sad about my wife. I'm trying to track down people she knew, blah, blah, blah. And all right. And he goes, yeah, my mother-in-law died in this place 6 months ago. And she goes, no, she didn't.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
And he goes, no fucking red flag goes off in your mind that, how does this guy not know that his mother-in-law did not die? Maybe that when she came in on a snap decision with no explanation, moved the mom, and he comes in and says, oh, I thought she died here. Maybe shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
This is a movie whose prime lesson is mind your fucking business.
Yeah.
Until the end when it's break the door down and fucking save someone. So I feel like it's a movie that's asking us two things. One, check in on your friends and neighbors and make sure they're okay. And two, if they're not your friends and neighbors, mind your fucking business. Because if everyone in this movie would have just shut the fuck up, she's fine.
He would have sat out there on the beach cranking it to Driving Miss Daisy for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he could have paid people to eventually fucking canvass every single library in America to try to find any fucking hints. That would take forever. Yeah. By that time, he wouldn't even be able to have an erection anymore, and it might have been fine. You
But
cannot.
everybody.
But this is the thing. The movie never. You cannot leave mom hanging. You cannot. You cannot. You had a bag of cat. You had a go bag ready. You had a plan ready. Right? And they even say that, when they're on the bus, there's that really nice moment where she's telling the story about her friend who feels like a coward. She ran. She let this man abuse her. And she's like, she feels weak and cowardly. And the lady's like, no, not that lady. Not that lady. And then she goes, how long were you with him? It's this beautiful moment, right? That woman who has all that fucking agency to do this fucking wild-ass Hollywood escape has to know that you cannot leave mom hanging in the wind. It is,
by the way,
the fucking craziest shit that a movie's ever asked me to accept as just don't worry, that's how people would behave. No, it's not.
The first time I watched this movie the whole way through, I had assumed the reason she was getting that big-ass house was so her mom could come live with her at the house.
Exactly.
And I was
like, why? But that's what I'm saying. Why? Because that's the other thing. The movie doesn't do a great job of like how long between the funeral scene and when he's showing up on her door. I'll tell you it's at least a month.
At least
1 month. Have you ever tried to paint a house? Do you know how fucking long that takes? So at least a month. That means in 1 month, she did not go get her mom. She did not alert the 2 nursing homes that she needed this. And again, maybe you hide this under the auspice of she doesn't want people to know what happened.
She was just too busy.
Maybe.
She was too busy avoiding beating cheeks with that drama teacher. That's what was going on. So weird. Like, again,
but
for
she
all
has
the meticulous
to take care
work
of this. I'm just saying for a movie that hinges on the kind of, this is a plot-driven movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is impossible to accept a reality where she waits a month and then she's like, now I'm going to go in dressed like Joe Dirt.
Weird.
And that will make sense. Why are you going for a visit? Check her the fuck out. Check her out.
Story.
How much are you paying that fucking place to hold your mom? Give that to an in-home nurse.
She doesn't have the money. It's the thing I don't understand at all is I'm like, wait a second. Oh, sorry. It's the thing I don't understand at all. Why are you not checking your mother out immediately? You say you miss your mother, you love your mother, she should come stay with you, and then I'm like, then you keep her in the home.
Also, why does the mom, who has a lot of deets, right? She's sitting there telling the husband when she's blind, she can't see that it's him. When he's like, he's a cop, man, your daughter is in danger. He's going to hurt her, right? Pretty scary scene. Played very well. And she's just like, he's crazy. He's wild. He does this to her. You never thought to, I don't know, tell the staff?
Yeah. What about the
staff?
staff?
Hey, man, if my daughter's husband ever shows up,
kick him the fuck out. Call the
throw
police.
him out. He's a piece of shit. So no one in this movie is doing the one thing. And I know what everyone's going to say. Well, if you do that, the movie unravels. All right, find a better screenwriting explanation.
Find a better script then.
Find a better screenwriting explanation. That's fucking insanity.
I will say this scene,
that doesn't work.
That scene's very menacing. It's very sinister. I like that scene.
It is, but then it's capped off with like this weird I'll tell you the biggest red flag why this guy should not have been her choice for mate is how he drinks at the water fountain.
Oh my god.
That is for some reason that scene is like really burrowed into my head and made me very afraid of him. Like it's
a weird.
I can't even
It's I don't know how
so fucking bizarre. And I was like, is this supposed to like visually make me think that's how he goes down on women? And I'm like, just kidding. Guys like this don't go down on women. What are we talking about? Like, why is he drinking out of the fountain now? And then at the end, she does it in her little mustache. She's getting caught. And then it sprays him. He's like, what are we doing? Why are these pieces the way that they
No, I was saying the thing that I like about that scene with the mother is it's really menacing.
Oh, it's so menacing because he's got the fucking pillow. Like, that's a great scene.
Well, that's the thing. It's punctuated by this, like, where it's getting cut together and edited like, oh, he's going to fucking snuff her out. And then he just, like, fluffs the pillow. I'm like,
well, because someone comes in. He would have killed her. Do you think he would have killed her?
I don't know. I mean, that's
my theory is he would have killed her.
If you kill an old person in a home, they're going to get caught.
Because if he kills her, he forces the game to happen faster.
True.
Now she's got to come back. Now she's got to come claim the body, or
Either
the
way,
body's got to be taken.
Either way, I like the way
think he was gonna
that
kill that
like
bitch.
I like the way that the supposed pillow snuffing is like cut. It makes me laugh. I think it's
He's really good. Like that is a
clever.
great. And that's the thing. This movie has some really great scenes. It does. And the menace of him, again, it hinges on like two of the back-to-back like weirdest, dumbest kind of decisions. But it still works. Like, all right, so I'm like, all right, she made the dumbest choice ever. It doesn't matter because the scene of him watching her at the carnival, he's watching her be happy, right? That's what makes this movie fucking terrifying is when he's sitting there at the carnival and through the crowd, we see him watching her. We've seen her rewrite her life, right? She made the house that she wanted. And shocker, it looks nothing like where his house is. We see where she lives. Looks nothing like the fucking empty, windy beach. He watches her happy, enjoying herself, finding actual love on her own. And we watch him watching that. And we're like, we know this guy's coming to destroy it. So it doesn't really matter that it hinges on kind of these fucking two back-to-back brain dead plots. Because that shit is so fucking scary.
This is another one of those things, too, where I paused the movie. Because this happened with Fear. I paused the movie like, oh, my God, there's only 15 minutes of this movie left.
Dude,
Holy
it's
shit.
so fast. Like, when he comes to her house, you're like, oh, my God, like, it's over. Like, it's over right now.
That's it. Yeah. She gets, like...
I thought we were going to do, like, a They're on the Run. Like, they go back to, like, something. Like, it's over.
Okay, I have to say this. Like, this is early. So this is 91. She had already done, like, the same year that this came out, she did Hook. So Hook and this came out the same year. The year before that, she got nominated for a Golden Globe.
So she kept her Tinkerbell outfit with the mustache to sneak into the fucking...
Sneak into the pirate. No, the thing that I was astonished by, and maybe I just never paid attention, but she's a really bad fake crier. Like, it was really bad. Like, it was... Like, so she opens... So
Julia Roberts has that, like, giant mouth problem.
Yeah. So she starts seeing signs that he's, like, in the house, like, the towels are correct, and then she didn't run out of the house screaming immediately when the music turns on and it's the fucking Shining soundtrack.
Well, she can't because it's the anti say anything, right? Where the boombox is blocking the door instead of inviting her out. John Cusack's boombox was a key. His was a fucking lock.
She opens. So then she opens the cabinet and sees all the things are facing for whatever that.
The towels are off. The fucking toaster's on fire.
Butter's dad organized the kitchen, so like.
Butters.
Every time that scene happens,
are you saying that this is the Scotch family just in 90s erotic?
This is the Scotch family in 90s erotic thriller.
Butters, how dare you?
Butters?
Everyone needs reminders. Butters.
What is a good family?
No, Dad, I didn't say like that. Mean you were a monster.
A good organized kitchen. No, so she sees that the like fake crying she starts doing is so odd, and it is like a big mouth thing. But like, it is just,
she's
like,
pretty
so
good at
awkward.
crying at the end when she's got the gun, I guess.
Yeah, that part's fine.
I'll say that I think too many actors like devolve into the big crying. I think crying, as far as acting goes, is like one of those really weird metrics because a lot of people use, "Hey man, can you cry?" Is like, "Oh, that guy's a good actor," or "That lady's a good actor." Yeah. You're like, well, if you are like, what's her name from True Blood and Daredevil, Deborah Ann Woll,
yeah,
and like your move is every scene ends in like big ass waterworks.
You just cry.
You're like, that's not really good acting, right? Because you're not really like in the mode of what the scene is asking. You're just like, don't worry. You're like, hey, you know what? Every get-together doesn't need to end in fireworks. That's how I think about it. Like if you came over to my house for game night and then in my driveway, you're like, oh, hey, we're done? Okay, I'm going to light out these M80s and fucking piss off all your neighbors. I'd be like, nope, unacceptable. Nope. No. So, I don't know. I think she's, the crying is a weird acting kind of like dead zone to me.
But I mean,
it's like the government's definition of porn. I don't know how to define it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
You know if it's working or you know if it's not. All crying is not equal.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's no like metric. It's just it is or it isn't. I gotta say, here's another weird thing. If you were traumatized by a man who has like a weirdly music activated fetish, I don't know that you see 90s Joey Lawrence. He kind of looks like Joey Lawrence mixed with Jack Osborne.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of.
Wow, that's a great way.
Yeah,
to put
kind of
that.
new boot goofing around his backyard, singing "We're the Jets, when you're a jet, you're a jet for life."
When he's
and
singing,
you're just like,
he's singing West Side Story. It's
you're like that.
Well,
I found my new wagon. Get my hitch ready.
Drama.
I found
teacher.
my new wagon. Not only that, but then when he approaches her in like his fucking all black turtleneck,
hey,
and
you
he's
stealing
like,
apples?
"Hey, you stealing my
Not
apples?
cool.
That's fucking crime around here.
Fucking not. That's a crime. Not cool."
When he comes back to you, he's like, "Be ashamed to not bake these." And I love pie. I'd be like, okay, there are 4 new red flags, and you've known this guy for a day. That's 4 new red flags. Julia Roberts, maybe you should, because at the end, we don't know that at the end of this movie that it's not the werewolf versus Frankenstein fighting. They want us to believe that the neighbor is this fucking good guy.
The first time
this could absolutely be a Godzilla versus King Kong scenario.
That apple scene, I was like, "There's no coming back from that."
That's
He literally
so
was
fucking
like,
creepy.
He's like, "You literally accused her of stealing apples," and then goes, "I love pie." I'm like, "Get out! You're done. Go, just go."
Yeah, if you're trying to like, this guy would know the term meet cute. He's a drama teacher.
Yeah,
that
come
ain't
on.
it, pal.
Not it. Sorry,
That
bud.
ain't it. Yeah, you didn't win the audition. You're out. You're going to need another role.
This is not the Philadelphia story. You
Get
have
back
failed.
to waiting tables. You did not get the role of Julia Roberts' new boyfriend.
There's a reason the closest you got to Broadway to Sardi's. Get out.
Yeah. When you're alone for life. It's like, it's so, I was just like, she should be more on alert. And oh, cool, because I've never seen someone get a lady so wet using stagecraft. I was like, I guess that's cool to the old theater kid in my body.
Actually, Andrea and I were watching it, and I was just like, Andrea goes, "Who's going to clean that up?" I'm like,
Yeah.
there is some really
The
pissed off
stage crew
custodian.
comes in the next morning. They're like, not again! God damn!
Great.
They're so mad.
Old Benny boy's trying to slay some poos. Great. Here we go
Who's
again.
going to clean up these fucking suds and nut? God damn it. Who got out all of our novelty conquistador hats?
Who got all of our costumes? Damn it.
Dude, yeah, he's getting rocked the next day. Just some fucking burly, like, stagehands rocking his shit the next day.
A bunch of us looking guys are like, "Dude, if you come back in here and do that again, we'll
motherfucker.
fucking kill you."
Yeah. You want to get laid, you do it like everyone else
It's
on
like-
the internet and with
it's like
Jaeger bombs.
It's like the
How fucking dare
wipeout.
you.
It's like the wipeout art crew. Like
Yeah.
the next time, like you come back in here and do that again, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like 1000%.
You touch my fucking bubble lever ever again, and it's over. You know how long it takes me to fucking gather them bubbles? No.
I'll kill you.
But yeah, I'm just saying, if you were to ask me, did she find a new soulmate? Is this guy the guy? The
Not a
only
chance.
evidence we had that he's better than the last guy is that when they start trying to get it in on the stairs, she has a panic attack, which I actually thought totally reasonable.
Great. Absolutely.
Because for one moment of the film, she's like, wait a sec, this guy's also triggered by music, the Apple thing,
Not great.
And she's like, hey, man, I want to slow it down. He gets up and with a look of disappointment leaves. And the next day she has to go apologize to him.
Why are you apologizing to him? He should apologize for
I would
being
argue-
a dick about it.
At the end of the movie, when we see the husband's dead hand in the ring, right, in the floor, it's a classic, beautiful, like, last image of a movie. And those two are holding each other in the background. I think they are showing us that history is about to repeat itself. I think history is about to repeat itself. I think the next time that she doesn't have the towels out, it's just going to be like, Rear! He's going to be like, he'll just be like more musically inclined as he like fucking gets mad.
The real MVP of acting in this movie is Patrick Bergen's eyeballs while he like reacts to things.
Dude,
he's
actually really awesome in this movie.
He is very good. He has the craziest face. Like nonstop. I just couldn't stop. I was just go like I can't pop my eyeballs like that, but he's just like, "You think you can stop me from watching Return of the Jedi?" Like it's just this constant weird. His eyeballs.
You think you can keep my dick out of the leftovers in the fridge? I don't think so, pal. I don't think so, buddy. My dick goes in any leftovers at once, pal. You think they'll stop us doing that? I won't let them leftovers live without me.
I gotta tell you, we've gotten a lot of run out of old Jeffy Dahmer. I feel really good about that.
Yeah, Jeffy Dahmer is kind of the gift that keeps on giving to me. I know the victims aren't stoked about the show,
No,
but
sorry.
for our comedy and
For our
impression
purposes,
game,
it does really well.
it's been pretty good.
But his like, so she's like, so when she started, I will say this does have like a fucking.
They even
metal
give him
thing.
the like every '90s movie like this had to have the one last gasp.
Yeah,
It's the Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, right? That last death gasp where he grabs her and lets go. I do say that ending line though. I don't know. I wanted her to have a little more righteous rage than just like brokenness, because she does that line, which I thought was cool. It reminds me of that fucking TikTok. Call the ambulance, but not for me.
yeah.
When she calls
No, that's what
911
I
and
was
she's
saying.
like, "Hey, I need a responder. I just
That's what I was
killed an
gonna say.
intruder."
Like, it is fucking
Hell
metal.
yeah.
She's like, "Hey, I killed an intruder," and he's like, "What? Hey, what are you doing there? Hey, I don't know about that."
Hey, don't do that. Don't do
Hey,
that.
don't do that.
Don't
I
stick
thought we
your
were gonna
finger in
sit
that
down.
bullet wound. Ew,
are you
ew,
doing?
no.
And I mean, I was like, "That's fucking metal, dude."
But
she is
there's
she's
a
like,
part
"Fuck
of me
this
that
guy."
wanted her to stand over his body and like drop a line on him, right? Like, everyone needs reminders. Because this is the thing. And I get what you're going to say is that this is way more realistic, that she shoots him. She's never shot anyone. Guns are loud. It's scary. It's been violent. She crawls to her new fucking soon-to-be abusive lover, and they just embrace. And they cry, and they're going to like start the new life. Here's the thing. Is this a movie that is not going for big, dumb Hollywood moments? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I don't disagree.
If you're going
I
to
don't
be that
disagree with
movie,
you.
do the fucking movie.
I don't disagree with you. So what I'd like to do right now,
Bitch.
let's workshop two phrases she could have ended with.
Oh, I think there's only the one.
You say it's what was the one?
Yeah.
you had?
Well, there's two. There's two lines you could bring back that are written in the script as hooks. And it's she's like, stop. He's like, don't you remember what we had? And she would do something like, we all need reminders. Pff, wasted.
That's good. Okay. I like that
Or
one.
she can do the, he's like, please, no. Right? And she just goes, if I didn't think any better, I'd think you were saying I liked this. Pff, right? And waste his
that's
ass
pretty
right
good.
there. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that song, I'm a motherfucking monster. Right? In the TikTok remix.
I was actually gonna suggest like, no, and then she goes, dinner's gonna be late.
No
would be
tots tonight, bitch. Or yeah, she's just like, guess how many hours a week I work at the library now, cunt. And he's like, no.
Throwing a C-bomb in there. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. If you're gonna kill a guy, get after it. Like fucking get after it. Get after it.
See, that's the thing. If you gave me 80 minutes of whatever the movie was, but you ended it with like this weird Rambo style thriller starring Julia Roberts, I'd probably be like, this might be one of the best movies I've ever watched.
I'm just saying, you can't show me that boat scene. You can't show me her going to visit her mom in a goddamn Joe Dirt outfit. You can't show me the movie where she doesn't realize she can't leave mom hanging in the wind and say that this movie's not doing Hollywood moments.
By the way, never gave a good explanation to the boyfriend about why she was like needing all this makeup, and he was just like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, do you see a red flag here, sir, that she maybe is so obfuscating her appearance to go to a fucking nursing
She
home?
does
and you're not,
eventually tell him about the abuse. I
She
can't
does,
remember
but-
if that, I think that happens after.
it happens after she gets a fake mustache
Okay.
and all this padding.
This goes back to my point about this movie maybe history repeating himself. He sees that before she says it, and he's like, oh, fuck yeah, dude.
What if she becomes the enemy and just beats the shit out of him?
Well, my friend used to have a theory in college, and it's like one of those dumb, like, 90s guy things that you look back on now, and you're like, ugh. You're like, God, our culture was so broken and wrong.
Yeah.
But I had a friend, and his theory was just every time you see a woman take a shot of Jaeger, not a Jaeger bomb, just a straight up Jaeger, he's like, oh, hell yeah. And he would always just go, locked and loaded. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And he's like, that's who I'm hitting on. It didn't matter what the scenario is. If he saw a woman taking a Jaeger shot, he would look to me and he would go, locked and loaded. And I was like, ugh! It's just such a weird time in the 90s. I don't know. I do miss these movies, though. I miss watching movies with my mom, where because I love this about my mom is a like nonstop storyteller. If you know her, you know that's true. My mom loves stories, right? She loves watching movies. She watched them all the time. I love that my mom just watches movies that I think are so stupid, and she's so totally absorbed in the story. Like the stories to her are these. She's like, oh my God, and then this happened and this. And I love that about my mother. Her excitement for a yarn.
I mean,
in this movie and its compatriots of the time, like watching her get so excited about these movies. I love these movies very much. I do.
Well, this is the better version of those like Lifetime movies. Because you know what you're like the Lifetime movies are paint by numbers films. Mm-hmm. This was like the progenitor of that, and they're so much better. Not because they have like movie stars in them or anything, but just even these are more entertaining because there's just less. It just feels less quirky, I would say.
Well, there's only like 2 like dumbest decisions ever in this movie. Lifetime movies really hinge on like the constant
Lifetime movies
insanity.
are like the entire movie is a dumb decision.
Fear is closer to what Lifetime movies became, where it's just like big titillation at the expense of logic.
Sure,
but I don't know. When I watch movies like this from this era, I think of nights at Blockbuster, Family Video with my mom.
Totally
watching her get so pumped.
I think about seeing boxes like for this movie, like you see the art for like at like Kenley's. Kenley's was a grocery store in Noblesville that I used to go to.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think it's fun. I think we have room, and they still make these movies a lot. But now again, I think they just exist in different places and in different ways. It's fine. It's fine. I hope that you enjoyed Sleeping with the Enemy. That's it. We're not sleeping with the enemy. No mo. No mo. We're not doing that. I hope you will continue us in our journey this year, our journey of a all-consumptive amour. I hope you'll support the show on patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Help us grow the show. We appreciate it. We've been working hard over here for you, and the Patreon community is waiting with arms wide open. Actually, that's not. We are doing a classic kind of 90s jam movie coming up, but that's not it. Next, we'll be doing Bones and All, an amazing fucking film.
Great flick.
Can't wait to fucking talk about Bones and All and our all-consuming love, all-consuming amour. The month of amour has kind of secretly become my favorite thing we do every year. I fucking love the month of amour theme. I look very forward to it.
I have a lot of fun with these movies because we don't do a lot of. I think we find the weird niche of amour, and it always ends up being fun.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done this many love stories in a row since Hellraiser, so it's nice. It's nice to be back. We'll see you guys next time. Again, YouTube Film Alchemist, email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod, misfitparade.net. You can find that on YouTube and all the socials. If you want to see horror stuff that we're making, we appreciate that. We appreciate your time. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino. Power down, Brett. Power down.